So Sir Gideon Ofnir the All-Knowing is known by many names, the All-Spamming, the All-Coping. But how would his cosplay compete against players and bosses in the lands between, and can we make it even better? I'm Bitesized Otaku, and in this video, we'll be recreating Sir Gideon Ofnir's build and seeing whether or not we can make any further improvements. I'm on a journey to 100k subscribers, so consider hitting that subscribe button, like, and give it to me bite-sized. So the vanilla version of Sir Gideon Ofnir wears the All-Knowing set, which will provide us with OK defense struggling in the holy department and 47 poise, which is a decent starting point for a build to work with. Then for our weapons, we have the Scepter of the All-Knowing, which comes with the weapon art, Knowledge Above All, a debuff capable of reducing the magic and holy damage negation of ourselves and enemies by 10% for 60 seconds. Sir Gideon Ofnir also uses the Carrion Glintblade Staff, which will boost the power of our Glintblade sorceries by 15%, and we'll use this to cast spells, which we'll dive into later on, because Sir Gideon Ofnir may also be the all-cheating. And I wasn't too sure which seal he used, but I narrowed it down to either the Finger Seal or the Golden Order Seal, and I opted for the Golden Order Seal simply because it scales better with our stats, which we'll use to cast our incantations, and it will boost our Golden Order incantations by 10%. But let's quickly discuss the spells and incantations, because it's interesting just how close to a true cosplay we could accomplish with a few more memory slots. Sir Gideon, how do your spells work exactly?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I unlock additional spells depending on which demigod you defeat before foolishly facing me in combat. I use about 9 spells in total because I'm all-knowing, and these 9 spells require 14 memory slots in total.
Now here's the problem. Even when using the Moon of Noxtella, which gives us an extra 2 memory slots, we can only unlock a maximum of 12 memory slots per character in Elden Ring, making a true cosplay impossible at the moment. And for that reason, I put out a poll asking which spell should get included in the build, and Scarlet Aeonia won the vote, meaning I'll be including that spell in this vanilla version of the build. And for our stats, I'm using the setup on screen, opting for a nice split of intelligence and faith, with plenty of casting, health, and stamina, so we can stay on the offensive and move away if required on the level 200 Vagabond. But how does it play in action? So this build truly earns its reputation for being all spamming, and it's this strategy that makes it so fantastic in the arena. For starters, we can start with Knowledge Above All to help boost our magic damage and apply pressure with Rykard's Rankar, which follows enemies, exploding along its path. After that, we can either spam Comet or Triple Rings of Light to damage our opponents. While Comet will do more damage on a single hit, its tracking is slightly weaker, and Triple Rings of Light will do less damage per ring, but covers a larger area and returns for additional damage, meaning it can potentially out-damage any other spell in our arsenal. If your enemy gets too close, you can cast Black Flame Ritual to put up a wall of destined death between yourself and your opponent, damaging and staggering them if they get inside, and Carrion Phalanx is brilliant for attacking enemies when on the defensive. The Scepter of the All-Knowing is also a brilliant weapon to whack enemies who get too close for physical damage, which won't be enough to finish the fight on its own, but can punish aggressive enemies to encourage some distance. Scarlet Aeonia is hard to land, but brilliant when it does, dealing massive damage and Scarlet Rot build-up, which can often be enough to finish a player if they don't have a cure on hand, which I like to use after Rykard's Rankar when they are too busy dodging. And lastly, Comet Azure is impossible to land in the arena, but will do wonders on large enemies in PvE, acting as a nice ranged option for dealing with larger foes or players who get caught in a lengthy animation. But are there any problems? The problems which I encountered were struggling against quick and aggressive players who stagger us before we could cast our spells, making it difficult to really use this build's full potential. You will also have difficulties against super heavy enemies with greatswords who can hyper armor their way through damage. And this isn't helped by the fact that the majority of our spells except for Black Flame Ritual are long range attacks, meaning at close range we will struggle. So let's make some adjustments. I figured in order to make Sir Gideon Ofnir truly all-knowing, his spells and incantations should complement each other rather than being randomly and haphazardly chosen based on spamming potential, and this means making some adjustments. Let's swap out our gloves and greaves for the Banished Knight gauntlets and scaled greaves, which will help boost our poise a tad alongside our defense. Then let's swap out our Carrion Glintblade Staff for the Prince of Death Staff, which will scale on both intelligence and faith, giving us better sorcery scaling overall. For our talisman, we can use the Crimson Amber Medallion +2, Millicent's Prophesis, Bull Goat's Talisman, and Radagon's Icon, which will be super important for this build. Now, our selection of spells are split into 2 categories. We've got the true combo set and then we got the ranged alternatives to encourage close range combat. The true combo spells are Cat's Flame, Stone of Gurranq, Blood Flame Talons, Wrath of Gold, Carrion Piercer, and Lightning Spear, and these can be mixed and matched however best works for you. Then for our range, we have the Stone of Gurranq, Lightning Spear, Rykard's Rancor, and Stars of Ruin to deal with enemies who have low health and want to play it safe. I've also included Black Flame Ritual to act as a safeguard against aggressive players and an alternative way to begin a true combo. Now, while these stats are built on the level 200 Vagabond, you can save 2 stat points by using almost any other class like Astrologer. And this combination actually works wonders. While we may still struggle against heavily armoured and quick enemies, we have far better chances of beating them by combining a variety of combos and ranged attacks, leaving them unable to fight back. And against anyone else, we will melt them effortlessly, potentially dealing over 1000 damage in a single combo before cleaning up. But in summary, this build takes the classic Sir Gideon Ofnir the all spamming and truly makes him all knowing by exploiting the potential interactions of different spells and incantations from different schools of magic to compete against even the toughest builds. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and of course subscribe. This is Bitesized Otaku, and I hope you enjoyed.